Hello? Hey, gang. How goes it? Okay, so just a few other things to wrap up the day. I'm going to be going over a few recaps and a few reminders before the school year starts. But before we get started with that, you guys have something for you to watch. Just because.
Hey, I'm really excited to share with you something I got. Okay, I went to Kohl's today. I had to make a couple returns. Stuff didn't fit. Surprisingly, it was a little too big. Thank you. I know some of you may be thinking the opposite. Shame. No shame. It's all love. It's all love. Okay, so here's what I found when I was at Kohl's. And I'd like to say that I bought this for my son that would really, really want it. And let's be honest, he'll probably confiscate it from me. Confiscate? That's a word, right? Okay, so he'll probably take it from me. However, this is mine. Like, when it's said and done, at the end of the day, this is mine that I bought. And I'm going to keep it for my own. You can see it kind of has Star Wars. Oh, you're getting a little hint. Okay, so you want to see what I got? It's so great. I can't wait to show you. Okay, this is part of my birthday joy. Still rejoicing in my birthday. And so here's what I got. I'm going to take it out of the box. And I can't wait to show you. Okay, I'm in a parking lot and people are literally looking at me like crazy. I don't even care. Okay, so here it is. Hold on. It may be a little tight. It may be tight on me. I got to undo it just a little bit. Hold on. Stay patient, people. Stay patient. This is going to be worth it. I promise. Maybe not, but it's worth it to me. And I had to share with my friends on the internet webs. So here's what I'm having trouble getting it. Okay, patient. All right, we're doing good. Okay, so this is what I got. Once again, this is for me, not for Duncan, not for Cadence. I mean, I'll let them play with it. I'm not a bad mom. I'm not a jerk. But in all honesty, at the end of the day, it doesn't go in their toy box. It goes in my room. So here we go. I gotta take off my glasses for it. Oh, naturally. Okay, here we go. So, yes! Now watch when my mouth actually moves. That's not me making that noise, it's the mask! Here, listen. Worth every penny. I can't stop. Oh, I gotta stop. Okay. Gosh, I kind of want to drive around like this. Oh, okay, now I'm gonna let Chewbacca talk here. Oh my gosh, I'm in tears. Wow. This is the best birthday present ever to myself. Wow! Oh my goodness. Y'all have an incredible day. It's the simple joys.
Noise. It's the mask. Such a happy Chewbacca. I can't laugh like that. I laugh silently and cry when I laugh. So, there you go. I hope that you're all happy Chewbacca's at the start of the year. For the kids. Remember, every day's a new day. Smile, you are the first ones that they see in the morning. Be happy Chewbacca's. Absolutely. This was worth every penny, by the way. Worth every penny.
Thank you, happy Chewbacca.
Really a small mask, too. I'm just saying. Like a giant size head and an itty bitty mask. So, at any rate. So, Yumika in the office is the one who showed me that video. And she said, Miss Catherine, I gotta show you this video. This lady reminds me of you. And I'm like, all right. Okay. But of course, funny thing, the next day I ordered the mask. Just saying, she may not have been far off. Okay. All right. So down to business real quick. I want to recap a few things that were talked about earlier, yesterday, the day before, today, etc. Just kind of throughout our first few days here. Touching back to uniforms. Uniforms are required. As of right now, you're to get as close to the prescribed uniform as possible. Those of you who don't have all the pieces, you need to talk with your cluster leaders so that we can be aware of it. But you're expected to wear an APS shirt and dark pants. You're supposed to wear khaki style pants. Mr. Garcia says that dark jeans are okay on Fridays. But apart from that, understand too that your uniform includes your vest and what else? Anyone? ID. Your ID. Other people in the county wear vests, so it's not a unique thing to transportation. And schools and people around schools, families that see people, random adults going in and out of buildings, need to know that we're legit. If a school security officer asks you for your ID, you ought to be able to produce it. It shouldn't be on your bus, it should be on you. Whether that means that it's in your vest pocket, on a lanyard, in your pocket, that your keys are with you and it's on your keychain, have the thing with you. Increasingly, we're seeing those doorbell things at school doors, you know, that have the cameras. Real simple, you don't have to use your words at all if you can show them your ID badge that authorizes you to come in. So just remember to have all those things. As far as payroll is concerned, something that was mentioned when Ms. Mercado was up was that you should, if you have any questions about your pay, you should see Melissa. I want to kind of revise that by saying the first person you start with for all things is your cluster leader. They are your frontline supervisor. You should have all that information that she said. You should know what hours are missing, what pay period we're talking about. Bring a copy of your pay advice so that you can illustrate for somebody what the problem is, and they can take it to Melissa for you or arrange for you to meet with her directly, depending on the issue and what's necessary to fix it. So a little clarification there. Another thing about payroll, you guys are paid guaranteed 30 hours a week, 6 hours a day. But if you expect to be paid 6 hours a day, then I expect you to turn in documentation for that work. You're either going to turn in a timesheet or you're going to turn in a leave slip. But if you do not turn in those documents, you aren't going to be paid. And I am kind of through with chasing down paperwork. I'm tired of having to say, oh, I need you to hunt down this person for their timesheet that they didn't turn in. You've got to get this leave slip from this person. It's not new. We just haven't been making anybody toe the line, but I'm disinclined to continue it because frankly, it's exhausting and you're responsible for the pay that you get. If you expect to be paid, then you should have no trouble on the day you come back from being out, turning in a leave slip. That's what the PIP says. You turn it, submit the form upon your return if you haven't requested the time off in advance. Pay for time that you are on the job, you are instructed to turn in your timesheets on a daily basis to your cluster leader basket. So please make sure you're doing that. I really hope that, I know that's frustrating to hear. I'm not trying to make like a threat or anything, but it's just, it is a lot of time, and in the end, it can result in a delay in your pay, that kind of thing. So please be sure you're turning in a document for every hour that you expect to be paid, whether it be a leave slip or a timesheet. Signal 30s, just a reminder, the first week is going to be insane as per usual, and that's not anything that's in anybody's control directly. It's a confluence of things that causes there to be some chaos the first week of school. Kids are getting used to bus stops, parents are getting used to schedules, schools are getting used to which kids ride which bus. Please do keep a record of your Signal 30s. But you do not need to radio in your Signal 30s during the first week. What you need to do is document the Signal 30. What do I mean by that? I think that your cluster leaders already talked to you about the definition of a real-time dry run. The same applies to a stop where there isn't a kid. You need to activate your lights and come to a complete stop. That will help the AVL or GPS system to record the fact that you were there and when. However, because electronics fail, you need to be aware that if it's a stop where you're supposed to have 25 kids and the pickup time is on the hour and you're there 5 minutes after that time and you get 3, you need to be writing down or remembering, I was there at 8:05 and I only got 3 kids. Does that make sense? Because when the parent question comes in, we have to have that information to give, and that specifics of saying, I don't remember, is not okay. It's real important that you're paying attention to the detail, and that will alleviate some of that radio congestion, because there's gonna be a lot of things that you do have to call in for. We can't control the weather, we can't control the traffic, we can't control crazies on the road, so let's keep that part under our control and keep good records of it. Parking, our favorite topic. The jurisdiction I came from had like many parking locations, so I kind of came from a different school, and discussions were had over the past couple of years about personal vehicles being parked in bus spaces. And where I came from, that was the norm. The parking was so scant that there wasn't any room for cars anywhere else. But the locations were also set up better, and we all had assigned spaces too. We have been having a lot of trouble with, for instance, folks who pull their car into a bus space, then they go out on a bus, then they come back from the morning shift and they go ahead and just pull into the space next to their car. Then, before they leave, instead of pulling right out of the space that their car's in, they just want to run in real quick to grab something in the office, or they just want to use the bathroom real quick. So now they've taken up 2 spaces. We've had a lot of cars hit, lots of damage to cars and buses, because people are often in a hurry when they park. We also have situations where there are spaces available and people don't bother to use them. They just go ahead and parallel park in the lane or double park behind the buses. None of those things is going to be okay. What I want you to do when you come into the lot, I want you to pull down and park in the furthest available space next to the bus that parked before you. Don't park your cars in bus spaces anymore. That was my mistake. It was a bad judgment call. I'm redacting, rescinding it. We're not going to do that anymore. It has proven to be too big of a problem with, again, damage to vehicles, inconsiderate behaviors, etc., causing problems, further problems in our already congested and inadequate facility. So, just to recap, make sure I'm not hearing as many groans as I thought. When you arrive at the lot, you should pull all the way down. If you're the very first person, you should park in the very furthest space. The next person should park next to you. Those that move the buses, it might cause a little bit more work moving that stuff around, but the long and the short of it is, we have a problem with buses backing up all the way to Arlington Mill in the afternoons, because people just kind of randomly park, and then the next person doesn't bother to look to see that there's a space. They've skipped a couple, they don't look to see that, they just pull in the first available space, and then it's the folks who arrive last who will get halfway down the row and realize, oh man, I thought there might be a space next to that bus, because people leave spaces, and there isn't one. And then they've got to do the weird, cut the block to come back and park in the lane. So we're gonna give it a try that way, moving forward this year, and we'll kind of see how it goes. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I've covered all the biggies. Do you guys have questions for me? I cannot believe I'm not seeing hands shoot up. Come on. This is where you're supposed to rake me over the coals.
Where are you supposed to park your private cars?
Say that loud.
Where are you supposed to park your personal vehicle?
Okay, where you cannot park is in the front of the Parks and Rec building where they have their equipment-y stuff, or in stripy spots. Where you can park is in car parking spaces that are appropriately marked, or let's say not marked, ones that aren't reserved, or if you don't have the credentials necessary to park there. You can park in the deck, you can park on street parking, wherever that's available, but you shouldn't park where your bus goes. If you're asking a question, you gotta holler. You gotta holler. I'm like,
Street parking like Arlington Mill?
perhaps if that's where street parking is. And I don't know exactly where street parking is. But that was one of the Oh, apparently the alley is not an option.
Since park for the buses is also limited, we need the alley to park buses over there as well. We can park up to 10 buses over there, so all the people that leave early in the morning, that will be assigned, the alley will be assigned to those people. So unfortunately, we do need the alley for buses.
Did everybody hear that about the alley? Okay. Speaking of supervisors, really quick, I want to redirect for 1 sec. If I ask you who your direct supervisor is, who are you going to say? Who are you going to say? Okay. She says her direct supervisor is Chris Ninos, which is the correct answer. So your direct supervisor is your cluster leader. Okay. Does everybody know who their cluster leader is? No. Not yet? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Just in case, because we do have new people come in, and I wanna make sure, if you've been in the same cluster and you've had the same cluster leader, you might not know who the other ones are. So cluster leaders, do me a favor and stand up. Wave your arms. So starting with 400, in the back corner over there, that's Miss Sonia Henderson. She is the 400 cluster leader. In the back upper section standing is Mr. Danny Roseborough. He is the 500 cluster leader. In the back section over here is the 600 cluster leader, Miss Kendra Cockrell. On the front down here, 700 cluster leader is Mr. Mel Chavez. Right here in the midsection, he's in the in-betweens there. Mr. Ashabir Gebri is the 800 cluster leader. And the 900 cluster leader, how many of you remember that there's now an 800 and 900 of special needs drivers? Everyone remember that announcement earlier? Okay, the 900 cluster leader is Mr. Chris Gamez-Ninos. So that you're aware, you're all assigned to a specific cluster lead driver as your direct supervisor. However, all cluster lead drivers are supervisors. I'm going to say that again. You are assigned to a specific cluster lead driver as your direct supervisor, but all cluster lead drivers are supervisors. Please keep that in mind. That means that if you have an issue on the lot and one of the other cluster leaders is there, they might say something to you and give you a reminder. If you're on George Mason and you're at a light and you pull up next to a bus and there's one of those folks in there, you might not want to gun it and pass them. You don't want to do that anyway, but make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on around you, because all the supervisors are supervisors, and their job, while they have certain folks assigned directly to them, and those are the folks they evaluate, their job is to supervise all bus drivers in attendance. So my expectation of them is that if they see a problem, they address it. So please be aware that another cluster leader may address an issue with you and show the appropriate respect for them.
What's the next line?
What's the next what?
What's the next line of chain of command?
The next line in the chain of command is me, because they report to me. Anybody have any further questions? I do want to let you know. Okay, so just a reminder about tomorrow. You are to report to transportation at 6:30 a.m. Please be on time. Nobody likes to wear the pointy witch hat, especially me. I don't like being the bad cop, but we do expect you to come to work on time, and that includes during in-service, that includes after breaks. So show up on time tomorrow. We have some morning activities. We've got some stuff we've got to get through. You need to speak with your cluster leader to find out what time you guys are scheduled to go sign out your gas cards. Yep, we're signing for the gas cards, remember? So every cluster has an appointment of when they're going to be cycling through to do that. You need to talk to your cluster leader in the morning to find out what time your team goes. In the afternoon, we're doing those real-time PM dry runs. It's important that you follow the procedures that your cluster leaders illustrated for you on Monday. But make sure that you're following all those instructions. After the morning session and before we do those PM dry runs, you are invited to join us for a complimentary lunch. As Mr. Garcia explained, we will be going to the Bamboo Buffet. So if you would like to find out ahead what type of fare the Bamboo Buffet serves, please feel free to do so.
It's free, so it won't be.
But the bus will be leaving at 10:30. You will be issued a ticket for your meal costs on the shuttle buses. So make sure that you ride it so that we can pick up the cost for your meal. Actually, no. Definitely have to check. Yeah, but they have a variety of stuff. It's not just limited to just Chinese food. They have other stuff on their bar. So, anyway, I suggest looking at it and kind of poring over the menu. They usually have a list of the stuff. Does anybody have any questions here at the tail end?
Yeah, let me ask you, if you already have a car for your bus, a gas car for your bus, you don't need to see a supervisor, right?
If you already have a fuel card for your bus and you have not signed for it, then you need to make them aware when you cycle through the line tomorrow. You absolutely should do that and bring it with you so that it's on record. I didn't hear the last part of what you said.
The same bus you already had. You had the same bus you already had. Do you have to sign for a card?
If you have not signed for any fuel card that you have, you should bring it with you, and you should sign for it at that time.
Sign for it.
If you have a fuel card in your possession that you haven't signed for, bring it with you to the session tomorrow as you're cycling through so that you can fill out the appropriate paperwork.
All right, I think that there was some miscommunication. All the fuel cards were pulled from the buses.
Oh, okay.
So you need to sign again for them. If your bus did not have a fuel card because you decided to put it on your wallet, you need to bring that car back because we need to keep track of who has what. That's it. So if it's the same bus that you had last year and you had a fuel card on the bus, we pulled that one. So there should not be a fuel card on any buses. So you need to sign for a fuel card. And you're going to be responsible for the fuel card. And you remember what I said yesterday. If you lose it, get damaged, I will replace it. But if it happens a second time, what happens? Yep. All right. One more thing. Hold it. I don't know how much it is.
Yeah, the door is open. I mean, the school bus door is open 24 hours a day. So if I sign for one and somebody else comes in and steal it, how's that gonna do? If I sign for it and I keep it,
As long as you're responsible for it. Okay? The problem is, listen up. The problem is, what happens if I need to use your bus for a field trip?
You should take your fuel card off your bus before you get on the bus.
what if that person loses it?
Okay, let's say that I sign off your bus. Your bus was parked, you left the fuel, I take the bus and I lose it. I don't just go and pick up the bus.
Yes, they do.
They're doing it, but that's not the process. You need to get assigned the bus. So, well, it's very easy. I just decided to take his bus. Nobody assigned me. He comes in the next morning, there's no fuel card. Go into the office, talk with your supervisor. They go into the GPS and they saw, yeah, that bus was on a field trip. We just go and get the ticket. Because unless you are like me, I don't care to get paid, so I don't sign for the ticket. There has to be a record of somebody drove that bus. Somebody signed for that bus. Because unless any of you have won the lottery lately, and I don't know anything about that, because I want my part of your lottery winnings, you need to report those hours. So there's a way to find out who was the last person on that bus.
Sir, I can come in at 5:30 p.m. at night. I can go to 10 different buses, take all the fuel costs from all the 10 different buses. Nobody would know it was me because if the key's not on, nobody would know I took the bus key.
I guess it'd be a good idea to tell you the surprise that I have for everybody. The new camera systems that we're putting in do have a motion detection system. All right? So just be careful what you do on the bus. Okay? But again, how many up there? I haven't finished with you. How many times have a car been lost? The fuel car, how many times has it been lost? It's not that many. Okay? It's not that many. That's why I said, if it gets lost, stolen, damaged, whatever, I'm going to replace the first one. But the second time, that's a different case. If you're, let's say that you are unlucky. You remember in the old Flintstone cartoons, there was this character that there was always like a dark cloud anytime that he went. Let's say that you are unlucky, and somehow your car gets lost every Friday. I'll deal with that situation. I'll deal with that. I don't think anybody's going to lose 7 or 8 cars a year, so I'll deal with that on a case by case.
Don't you have to put your personal code in to use the car?
That's the second part of it. Everybody has a code. So if I steal your car and I don't know the code that goes with that car that is assigned to you, it's just another piece of plastic on my wallet. So there are systems built in. Yesterday I was accused of screaming, but if you start having side conversations, I cannot hear and I need to raise my voice.
Okay, like he said, my coworker is somebody taken for free. Forget about that. The bus is open all day, right? If I tag my friend, my driver, before there is no loss the fuel card because nobody mentioned we pay for it. Okay? If I need to attack one of my friend, one of somebody, I took that card inside, I get it and I took it. Okay? The next day you replace for me. And then the other day that person is coming taking from my bus. And then that what's the code behind it?
Right.
Maybe another reason, maybe you have to have another one.
Did anybody remember what I said yesterday or what I said at 60 days ago? Where do I want to take this department? To be professionals. I cannot do much if we start behaving like little kids. Okay? We need to be professionals. I have no way of knowing what I do. I believe that all of you have honor and they know what is right. I'm not gonna get upset because you lost or suddenly disappear, whatever it happens. What I'm trying to say is we need to be responsible. You get a bus, you're assigned a bus. You need to be responsible. It's treated as your property. I know it's not yours. You're not paying $120,000 for the bus because that's how much it costs. But you need to treat it as your personal vehicle. You need to treat it as something you need to have pride on your job and on the equipment that you are given. So if you find out that somebody's messing with you, is playing with you, is taking, let your supervisors know. We'll figure it out. We'll try to figure and catch. And if I catch somebody doing those games, let's go and talk with me. But I have to believe that all of you are professionals. That you are not going to be doing those games. Again, it could happen. Tomorrow, we get a couple of high school kids and do the senior prank. Yes, they can come in, spray the buses. They do all that. The best senior prank that I ever heard was in Montgomery, in one of the lots who are sealed, controlled by gates. They did this on a high school and they did it on one of the lots. They released 3 pigs, little pigs, running around. One of the pigs was marked with a number 1. One of the pigs was marked with a number 2. And the third pig was now marked with a number 4. We spent hours looking for that number 3 pig. We spent hours looking for it. But that's a prank. That's a joke. I believe that we are all adults here and professionals, and we are not going to be into that. If that gets the case, we'll deal with it. All right? I need one more thing from all of you. I need you to come down and fill this front. I need to get a picture because we're doing this, what we have done over the summer to send the board of education. So I took a couple pictures today, but there's too many empty spaces. So I need everybody to come down and fill as much of this, and take a good picture of all of us.